Today I want to talk about Epstein files, about my father's incarceration on child molestation and how the evil has been working through those white racists. In the past months, I have repeatedly said this, and I don't think I have said enough, that in this country, child sex offenders are overwhelmingly white men. And these evil white men project their own sinister activity to other ethnic groups, the same way that a liar would say that everybody is lying, and a corrupted politician will say all politicians are corrupted. This is called projection in psychology. It means people who do something evil intend to believe that everyone else are doing the same. And that's exactly what happened with the Epstein files. They kept saying that Obama was in their Epstein file, that Clinton was in there, but it turned out their own boys are all over in it. They themselves are the pedophiles, and they have created a whole system, hijacked the law, and controlled cops, judges, and courts to protect themselves. Meanwhile, they kept accusing others. They said black people, including Michael Jackson, molested children. They charged and even convicted black leaders like my father for child molestation. That's projection at its purest form. I will talk more about this today and talk about why I believe my father is innocent. But first, I must clarify this. What I am going to say is not anti-white. I have to be clear about this because they had accused my dad of being an anti-white racist. It is not, because we are simply talking about facts. If I say most people who are colorblind are men, am I anti-men? No, because it is a biological fact that only 0.5% of women are colorblinded, but 8% of men are. So overall, 94% of colorblinded people are men. This is not anti-men or misandry. It's just a scientific fact. So what is the scientific fact here? That is, pedophiles in this country are overwhelmingly white men. This is not what I say. It is the official statistics published by the U.S. government. 82% of criminals who sexually exploit children are white. 82% and 83% of creepies who possess child pornography are white. 83%. So if we lined up 5 child sex offenders, 4 of them would be white. I want to take you back to one thing my father had repeatedly been teaching. It was the possession of human bodies by the evil force or the malevolent being. So these evil beings are among us. They are walking with us in daylight and are in forms of humans. But it is not that they can transform into humans. The malevolent being exists in a different dimension from our space-time continuum. That's what scientists call the world we live in. It's a 4-dimensional space-time continuum. But the universe is also guided by 9 laws of divine. These divine laws are mental, vibration, growth, rhythm, breathe, polarity, causation, gender, and correspondence, all of which from the prime mover, the cosmic twins. The universe, through the divine law and nature's forces, subdivide into planes, or you may call them dimensions, beyond the 4 dimensions of space and time. Some science theories, such as the string theory, believe there are 11 dimensions, but if you check what my father's books, such as The Science of Creation and What is Soul and Spirit, he told you long time ago that there were 12 planes of this world. So the malevolent being exists in the 5th and 6th dimensions, which we call spiritual and energy planes, and they are controlling our world through agents, including humans controlled by them, and people call it possession. But the evil cannot just possess anyone they want. They can only control those who are vulnerable. Now, let me go back to the origin of the human being. In the past 30 years, modern genetic science has verified the fact that the very first human beings were created in Africa. The direct descendant of these original humans are us Nubian people, or Nuban, and the Europeans label us as the black people because of the tone of our skin color. This is a knowledge that we've always known, and it was verified by science, by newest genetic research in this century. But what science does not know, or has not been able to verify is that when the original human being, or the Nubian people, was created, we were given protection against evil possession, kind of like an immune system. That protection was written in our gene, but not every human being today maintains the original form. The universal ethers go through cycles via the laws of nature, and thus there are three major creation periods. The first was primary creation, next the evolution, and finally it devolves, which is called the ghost period. You can tell who is from which cycle by looking into melanin. We, the Nubian people, have original melanin, the EU melanin. People from the second cycle have pheomelanin. And in the third and last cycle, those people have melanin recessiveness and produce almost no melanin, and they call themselves white people. We all agree we should not judge people by their skin colors or skin tones. However, skin color is a mark or an indicator of the underlying traits which are related to which cycle their ancestors were created and what genes they are carrying. In particular, it indicates if you have spiritual immunity to certain kinds of evil forces. If you heard my dad's speech, you may know that sometimes he called out some white people as being evil, and he was labeled an anti-white racist for saying that. But if you listen to his full speech, not just a few out-of-context sentences, you know he meant that those white people who were possessed by the malevolent beings are working for evil forces. Of course, the majority of white people are not working for evil, but there are certain evil forces that white people are much more vulnerable to. It only infects a very, very small portion of the population, and it infects any ethnic groups. But since white people are more vulnerable, the result is that in this country, 4 out of 5 child sex offenders are white, and those are offenders who get caught. More of them, especially those in power, are not exposed yet. You will not see anything like this in other cultures. Every culture has pedophiles, but they will be condemned and punished. But in a society predominantly ruled by white people, you see the government, the richest white people, and the powerful church. All those most powerful men are protecting pedophiles. Now, you never see something like that in our culture. In ancient Kemet, pharaohs are so powerful that they could have anything they wanted to satisfy their sex desires. They can have one wife and many sister wives, but that power didn't make them pedophiles. Why? Because they were genuinely not interested, because we as normal people are genuinely not interested. When we see children, we only see lovely beings for our future. If we want to have pleasure, we are looking for a fully grown body, which is attractive in our eyes. But if some people are possessed by evil entities or just genetically unstable, their whole mindset is different. They now see children as sex objects. And because of that, they are also into child pornography. This is without exception. Every pedophile caught by law enforcement are in possession of sexually explicit contents that involves minors, mostly child pornography, every last one of them. So here's the million-dollar question. When they arrest my dad, they took everything from him and presented lots of their findings at the court as evidence. Among those items, there were sex toys and graphic sex contents because my father was sexually active and he didn't hide that part of his life. But have they found even one piece of child pornography? No, none. Zero. If they found anything remotely close to child porn, they would have presented it at the court. But they couldn't because my father never had any interest in child sex. And they accused my father of thousands of cases of child molestation. Please make it make sense. How can a man never shown any interest in child porn wanted to molest children thousands of times? In conclusion, my father's case is the system, which was controlled by white racists, projecting their own sins to a black leader who they cannot control. They persecuted him.